Prasad said, I believed that for our first outreach in Region 6, Liverpool must be the most important one where we would come and interact with you. And here we are today to talk with you, to listen to you, so that we can take this village on the way forward. I know that you have many issues and challenges in Liverpool. But I'm sure after this visit today, you will be able to get some solutions. I want you to know that at no time we will neglect Liverpool. We may not be able to provide solutions in a day or in a month, but I can tell you that they will be on the front burner. Because I know that over the past 23 years, this village has been one of the villages that was neglected. And so, gone are those days. It is a new era for all of us, not only at Liverpool, but for all Guyanese. I want to take a few minutes to say to you this afternoon that you must be proud of our coalition government for the achievements that we have had over the past 21 months. We have achieved quite a lot. And first and foremost, maybe because I'm an educator, I want to remind you of the progress we have made in education, where we have provided under the President's Bees Initiative, buses, boat, and bicycles in Region 6. You know, I mentioned there 3 B's, but the B is a good letter in the alphabet. It's a letter that you can't forget. Because since we started with 3 B's, we now gone to 5 B's, and then we might be going to many more B's. Because in some cases, we have given out boots and breakfast. And so, keep your fingers crossed. There are more B's to come, not to sting you though. Apart from that, we have addressed issues in education. And while I'm not the Minister of Education, I have a passion for education, like my president. And so I always have to mention them. Apart from education, with regards to infrastructure, we have been doing quite a lot. Building roads, resurfacing roads, building bridges. In not too distant future, we are going to see the road from Linden to Letem coming to fruition. And you might say, man, look, I on the quarantine, what I got to do with that? But that road is going to provide the link for us and them. That road is going to provide investment. Who knows, some of you sitting here might decide, I will build a gas station along the route to Letem. That road will provide investment between the people of Brazil and us. And so there are lots of opportunities that will come our way. My dear people, Guyana is on the road to recovery. We have been punishing for too long. Other people have been reaping havoc, reaping the fruits of our labor. It was because of all the detractions, Guyana couldn't progress. We have a vision. We're seeing things, and we know that things will happen. You see what happened with the coming of oil, the discovering of oil in Guyana? Yes, it's going to take some time before we can reap the benefits of it. But Guyana is going to be a rich country under this coalition government, mind you. We have not been singling out communities where we are doing work. We have been doing work, developmental work for all the communities. At the 2015 general elections, we did not win Region 6, but Region 6 is one of the regions where we first brought 2 buses for school children, 1 boat for Baracaro, and hundreds of bicycles. So we did not discriminate.
Persons would have said we are having some stringent measures, but we have a vision, and we have to make sacrifices now for the sweetness after.
Yes.
And we would have taken on this change. You remember, change only occurs in a crisis. There was a crisis, and we have gotten a change. And so we just ask you a little bit whilst we are getting our thoughts together, our acts together, to temper your expectations. Because tell you the truth, between me and you, we didn't expect to be in this, to see the mess that we have inherited. And so, Ms. Amna, honorable member, spoke about the roads that we'll be doing. The state that billions of dollars are being spent on updating the current infrastructure mechanisms across the country, which were inherited in a deplorable state, substandard work, which you and I know. Robust efforts are being made to ensure that more stable and reliable electricity will be provided, as well as safe and reliable water supply, along with proper, sturdy roads form part of our communities. More bridges will be built and old ones upgraded as we try to improve farm market access roads. Local democracy. Over 17 years ago, we had local government elections. Local government elections were held, and communities were able to select their local representatives. I want to encourage you, participants, to hold these representatives accountable. Because we are in Georgetown, yes, we'll come here doing, from time to time, like, when Chandras will have called us and so on, and when we come to visit. But you have persons, chairman here, who are right here, and you have elected them, so you have to hold them accountable. You must articulate your concerns. Am I touching something there? Some car there. Our local representatives, who will then relay. So you speak to them first, the chain of command, and then they will relate it to central level so that we can get some work done here in this community. But as a minister within the Ministry of Public Health, of course, we want to ensure that, or in fact, let you know that the Ministry of Public Health remains committed to ensuring that Guyanese have universal access, without paying, of course, and you can benefit from. The best public health care services must be offered to all of our institutions. So at the health center level, from the health post to the health center, to the district hospital, to the regional hospital, and to our main hospital like New Amsterdam. We want to provide the best healthcare services, and it will remain a national priority of this APNU AFC government. And we will work unremittedly to make this very important objective a reality. We have since put in for this year 4 ambulances. So all the hospitals from New Amsterdam to Port Moran to Skeldon, they all have ambulances now. 4 new ambulances.
Very good. Progress, you call that.
We are working on the quality of nurses that are being trained. So when they would have come to look you after, we will ensure that you don't have to question about their integrity, whether they can treat you properly. So we are trying to revise our curriculums as we train our nurses. They'll be second to none in the Caribbean. So that when you go to the health center, the health post, they will be treating you with dignity, so to speak.
Yeah.
We'll be working with the New Amsterdam Hospital so that we can have more surgeries. When I went there 2 weeks ago, there is a backlog of 400 surgeries to be done, and we're hoping very soon that we'll have our theaters going and make sure we have our drugs. That's another story by itself. But we are working. We know where the gaps are, and we intend to fill them up. All right, and very soon some of those backlog cases of fibroid and all the hernias and the hydroceles, and so we want to get them looked after. In order to refocus public service efforts for delivery of quality outputs, we recognize there's a need to reduce wastage. Wastage of water, we are wasting a lot of things. Laxity. We still have this lackadaisical attitude. If your feet or your foot is hurting, you want to know which foot. In other words, the urgency. People are still lackadaisical. We have a goal to reach. We have a specific time. And so I want everybody to get busy, all persons accountable. The road is to be done. What's happening? Don't tell us, oh God, we ain't got bobcat, and we ain't got this, and we're in government now. We got to find it. It has to be done. So don't come and tell me that the road didn't do because we ain't got bobcat, and we ain't got this, and we ain't got that. We are in government. It has to be done. So our accounting officers, our chief administrative officers, personally responsible for the delivery of performance targets. Once funding has been available, they must produce, they must deliver. And so this APNU AFC government is working assiduously to ensure that we make life better for the people of Guyana, the good life. It must not only beckon, but it must become a reality.
I want to zero in more on what we've done in education because I serve in education. And as you know, education, the ministry itself would have expanded to include culture, youth, and sport. And so, as we know, it's the vision of His Excellency and therefore the vision of this government is to ensure that education is given a priority. We believe, and I firmly believe, that if we get education right, everything else we will get right. Because it's only through education that a people can reach its full potential. And if a people reach its full potential, then a country will also reach its full potential. And so this year in the Ministry of Education, we are going to conclude the commission of inquiry, which we had, into finding out what were the things that didn't work well for education, particularly during the last 23 years. Many things were broken. Many things have to be fixed. And therefore, it will require a process. But we're looking for a good outcome. And so we want you to join and support us to get there. You have to help us to help you. That's how it works. We want to ensure that whether our children live in Georgetown or they live in Berbice, they must have quality education.
That's right.
And therefore, there are many things that have to happen. Many, many, many things. One of the initiatives we have embarked on would have been looking at the grade 6, which in my time they call common entrance. The results have not been good for many years. And therefore, we're failing our children. We can't continue to do that because we're failing generations. And so this government invested millions of dollars, millions, in the capacity of $300 million just to look at the grade 6 level, which we call an emergency intervention. On the 12th and 13th of April, our children will write the national grade 6 examination. We expect to see better results because we have invested in the national grade 6 exam this year. I'm looking for good results from Berbice. I want you to work with your children. It doesn't have to be a biological child, your neighbor's child. Every child must be in school. And that is why the 5Bs initiative is that important. It takes more than a village to raise a child. And therefore, each and every one of us have a role to play. And I really would want us to step up and to play that role. The other thing I want to talk about is changing the narrative. I've traveled to many parts of this country, particularly here in Region 6, because I come home ever so often and I visit my relatives and I'm part and parcel. I see people in the pavilion I know and who are related to me and all of that. And I shout out to you. But I want to say we have to be responsible people. And therefore, the things we say, our words, they have power, you know. You have to recognize that it takes a process, it takes many steps so that we can move forward. When we came into government, there were many things that were way below expectation. Some you may know about, some you may not know about. And so there's a lot of work to do. And what is required is the collective effort of each and every one of us. Sometimes we have to take a step back and we have to ask ourselves what we can do for our country. Oh, beautiful Guyana. Guyana can do so much for us, but it takes our commitment and our effort to ensure that we move this country forward. And so while we building, roads, bridges, and improving airports and looking at schools and all of that, there's steps that we have to take as a government to ensure that we have the financial means to do that. A government is not only responsible to its people, a government is responsible to itself.
I'm here today as a commitment of government. Governance we're talking about. And it is our responsibilities to go into the villages where 2 people, 3 people, my colleague Sharmda said that a few people for me are plenty. Even if it were 2 persons here, that is our responsibility. We are talking about government based on facts. It is not possible to sit down in Georgetown at the cabinet level and to make decisions and know what is best for each village on the quarantine or each region in this country. If we are to govern, if we're going to fight to deliver the good life, we got to come on ground where you live and talk to you. And to hear from you, and not to hear from you alone, but we have to find solution. We're in office 2 years, and I'm not going to talk about what we inherited and what went on. We're all Guyanese. But I can put on record that what we inherited is no Superman arrangement. But this government committed to delivering that good life to all Guyanese people. And I want to make that quite clear from the outset. Be it I'm from the minister, I'm the minister within the Ministry of Natural Resources, I will tell you about what my ministry is doing. I'm a minister of government. And I represent the government here today. Any other minister that is not here, I represent. I'm sent here by the head of government, His Excellency, David Granger. 4 ministers. Different parts of the community. I don't know how often in the past, because I was not a minister before, maybe you got a minister under this fantastic white tent in a nice warm day, seeking and asking you people from Scotchburg, what are your problems? What are we not doing right? What are some of your bigger needs? What are we not paying attention to that could deliver that good life to you? The government is committed, and we are working. We're committed to healthcare, education, infrastructure, sports, mining, you name it, forestry. We are a government who is committed to delivering that good life. And so several things might be going on in your communities that government has to address. Right in Berbice, I was on the other part, in Region 5, and I'm going to be going up in the Berbice River coming from my ministry. You might have read in the newspaper about syndicates and mining and new opportunities that could create job employment and all of that. And the persons at Berbice has been tasked, and even if you're from a village or a community and you don't have miners and you're interested, you can be a part of those syndicates. You can register on one of the syndicates so that to benefit from the opportunity. Now, what opportunity am I talking about in the Ministry of Natural Resources? Where the wealth of the country, this natural patrimony, this property in this land, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, children, does not belongs to the Honorable Minister or the government. We are just presiding over it. It's not ours. And so it's our responsibility to continue to create employment. It's our responsibility to continue to create opportunity, new initiatives, because we are a government with vision. Vision for whom? The people of Guyana. And I dare say the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. We are committed to doing that. And the initiative with Syndicate, and so you can sign on there for some persons who might be interested. I don't want to miss that opportunity to give you the information, be it male or female. And you can be a part, you can learn about mining, you can know more about the industry, you can benefit, maybe you could be a supplier, maybe rice, who knows, to the syndicate body, which comprise of miners. You can be a part there, you can go into the industry. It's a safe way if you want to invest in the industry. You don't have to spend the money and then to study how are you going to make it. But you can have the opportunity to know more about it, to learn about it, to understand, and then put you in a position that if you want to make such an investment, you can make that investment in a safe environment. Now, the same opportunity that is there for the persons in Region 7 is the same opportunity for Region 6, Region 2, or be it wherever you're from here in Guyana.